The hour of 11 a.m. having arrived, the House will come to order. Members, please take your seats. Sergeants at Arms, please close the doors of the House. Prayer today will be offered by our colleague, Representative McNeil. Immediately after prayer, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Members and guests, please rise as able.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the spirit of compassion and love, let us pray. Dear God, Spirit of life, fill our hearts and our minds today and every day as we come together as a people in the chamber. May your wisdom and grace fill us with understanding and connectedness so that we may embrace a common ground. May each of us recognize that at the end of the day, we're all here for the good of all, acknowledging our differences and filled with the goodness as we see in others. Dear God, may you continue to provide us your strength when we tire and us in answering hate with anger. Aid us, I apologize. Help us work to be the change we wish to see and the voice of those without. Continue, dear Lord, to lift our voices in collective unity today and forever. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance. Sergeants at Arms, open the doors of the House. Members and guests, please take your seats. Without objection, the approval of the Journal of Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024 will be postponed until printed. Chair referred the following bills, which the clerk will now read.
Referrals, July 2nd, 2024. House Resolution 495, State Government. House Bill 2483, Tourism and Economic and Recreational Development. Referrals, July 3rd, 2024. House Bill 2484, Finance. Senate Bill 1080, Health. Senate Bill 1129, Judiciary. Senate Bill 1177, to Labor and Industry.
Chair is in receipt of extracts from the Journal of the Senate, which the clerk will now read.
The Clerk of the Senate being introduced, return bill from the House of Representatives, numbered and entitled as follows. House Bill 816. With information, the Senate has passed the same without amendment. Bills numbered and entitled as follows, having been prepared for presentation to the Governor and the same being correct, the titles were publicly read as follows. House Bill 816. Whereupon the Speaker, in the presence of the House, signed the same.
Chair is about to sign the following bills, which the clerk will now read.
House Bill 816.
Colleagues, please take your seats. We only have 2 guests today. The House will come to order. Please cease all conversations so our guests can hear themselves. Get announced. Seated to the left of the Speaker's rostrum, our colleague that serves Berks County, Representative Joswiak, has a special guest here this morning. We are delighted to welcome Eleni Geihauser. She is a graduate of Bucknell University, where she studied both biology and mathematics. She was recently hired to Representative Joswiak's district office, where she will be working as a communications specialist. Please, let's welcome Eleni. Congratulations on your hard work in school. In the gallery, our colleague that serves Lebanon, Representative Schlegel, has his constituent, Tabitha Gilbert, here on the halls of the House. Tabitha is a senior at Lebanon Valley College, where she's studying political science. She's been on the Hill both this week and last to learn more about the state budget process. Tabitha, welcome back. Glad to see you this morning. Are there requests for leaves of absence? Chair recognizes the majority whip, who indicates there are none. Chair recognizes the minority whip, who indicates there are none. The chair is about to take the master roll call. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote. 202 members having voted on the master roll call. A quorum is present. The chair recognizes the majority caucus chair, Representative Schlossberg, for a caucus announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there will be an immediate meeting of the House Rules Committee immediately upon the break. House Democrats will caucus at 12 o'clock. We will be prepared to return to the floor at 12:30.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes Minority Caucus Chair for a caucus announcement. Representative Dunbar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Republicans will also caucus at 12 o'clock. Republicans will caucus at 12 o'clock. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Cambria for a committee announcement. Representative Burns.
The House Professional Licensure Committee will meet immediately after session in room B31 to consider House Resolution 492. Trust me, it'll be a brief meeting.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Lackawanna for a committee announcement. Representative Mullins.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Appropriations Committee will meet in the Majority Caucus Room immediately following the Rules Committee meeting. That's the Appropriations Committee meeting immediately following Rules in the Majority Caucus Room. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. The House will stand in recess until 12:30 p.m. unless sooner recalled by the Speaker. The hour 12:30 having arrived, the House will come to order. Chair recognizes Representative Harris, Chair of the Committee on Appropriations, who reports the following bills. House Bill 1685, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. House Bill 1962, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. House Bill 2162, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. House Bill 2451, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. Senate Bill 186, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It is agreed to. Senate Bill 187, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. Senate Bill 298, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? Is agreed to. Senate Bill 1092, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It is agreed to. Senate Bill 1231, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? Is agreed to. Senate Bill 1246, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It is agreed to. Chair recognizes Representative Bradford, Chair of the Committee on Rules, who reports the following bills. House Bill 829, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. House Bill 1425, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. House Bill 2241, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. House Bill 2286, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It is agreed to. House Bill 2301, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It is agreed to. House Bill 2426, re-reported as committee. Will the House agree to the report? It's agreed to. Chairs in receipt of extracts from the Journal of the Senate, which the clerk will now read.
Clerk of the Senate being introduced, return bill from the House of Representatives, numbered and entitled as follows. House Bill 1664. With information, the Senate has passed the same with amendment in which the concurrence of the House of Representatives is requested.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader, who calls up House Resolution 425, printers number 3293 on page 6. Today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the resolution.
A resolution directing the Joint State Government Commission to conduct a study on the growth and changes of short-term rentals operating in this Commonwealth, introduced by Representative Powell.
Will the House agree to the resolution? Those in favor of the resolution will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the resolution. The ayes are 142, the nays are 60. Resolution is adopted. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Resolution 170, printers number 1789 on page 5 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the resolution.
A resolution directing the Joint State Government Commission to establish an advisory committee to conduct a study on the field of artificial intelligence, its impact and potential future impact in Pennsylvania, introduced by Representative Bob Mursky.
Will the House agree to the resolution? Representative Mursky offers Amendment A03599. Will the House agree to the amendment? On that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the amendment and the resolution, the gentleman from Erie, Representative Mursky.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This resolution would allow for the study of artificial intelligence by the Joint State Government Commission, and I think it's very timely, and I'm asking everyone to support the resolution.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Those in favor of the amendment will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the amendment. The ayes are 181, the nays are 21. The amendment is adopted. Representative Heffley offers Amendment A05398. Will the House agree to the amendment? On that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the amendment, the gentleman from Carbon, Representative Heffley.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yes, this amendment basically takes a look at voice impersonation. It's been brought to my attention that there are companies that actually will record voices of candidates and then make robocalls to sound like an authentic call from a candidate for political purposes and for campaigning. I just think that type of thing is not authentic and it is disingenuous. At this time, though, however, I will be pulling this amendment, but I think it's something that we need to take up in the future. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Representative Mercuri offers A05399. Will the House agree to the amendment? Chair recognizes the gentleman from Allegheny, Representative Mercuri.
Madam Chair, my amendment to this bill, and I would commend the maker of this resolution. I think a study on the threats of AI is needed, and it's timely. This amendment would add to the parameters of the study an opportunity and a mandate to study the potential negative impacts of AI technology on campaigns. We've seen this happen already. Campaign impersonation using voiceover, auto dial, et cetera, it has a real opportunity to impact the electorate through misinformation. So I encourage a yes vote. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman on that question. Chair recognizes the maker of the resolution, gentleman from Erie, Representative Mirsky.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There is already legislation that has been introduced to address this issue, so I'm asking for a no vote.
Those in favor of the amendment will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the amendment. The ayes are 100, the nays are 102. The amendment fails. Representative Allett offers A05400. Will the House agree to the amendment? Chair recognizes the maker of the amendment, the gentleman from Bradford, Representative Allett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This amendment simply adds to the study the risk of fraudulent impersonations through AI. There was a call that went out in my district impersonating my voice in a few months ago, and I think this is timely and would ask for your support. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman on that question. Chair recognizes the maker of the resolution, Representative Mirsky.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is an agreed-to amendment, and I encourage an affirmative vote.
Those in favor of the amendment will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Clerk will record the vote on the amendment. The ayes are 202, the nays are 0. The amendment is adopted. The question recurs. Will the House agree to the resolution as amended? Printer number 3488. Those in favor of the resolution will be voting aye. Those opposed will be voting no. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the resolution. The ayes are 125, the nays are 77. The resolution is adopted. Chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up House Bill 1425, for ordinance number 3387, on page 1 of Supplemental Calendar A. The clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill establishes a Universal Maternal Home Visiting Act under the Office of Child Development and Early Learning.
Well, the House agreed the bill is agreed to. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up House Bill 2286, for ordinance number 3093, on page 1 of Supplemental Calendar A. Clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill expands current immunity and liability for donated food explicitly to food that has exceeded the labeled shelf life date, but is fit for human consumption.
Well, the House agreed the bill is agreed to. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up House Bill 2426, for ordinance number 3336, on page 2 of Supplemental Calendar A. Clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill amends Title 75 to provide for use of registration plate flipping device.
Well, the House agreed the bill is agreed to. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up House Bill 2241, ordinance number 3223, on page 2 of Supplemental Calendar A. Clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill establishes a stewardship program for portable and medium format batteries.
Will the House agree to the bill? The chair rules the following amendment out of order for violating House Rule 20. A05393. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up Senate Bill 1236, ordinance number 1726, on page 3 of today's House calendar. Clerk will read a summary of the bill.
This bill amends the Landlord and Tenant Act.
Will the House agree to the bill? It's the chair's understanding that Amendment A05276 has been withdrawn. Senate Bill 1236 will be over. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up House Bill 1685, ordinance number 3480, on page 1. Supplemental Calendar B. Will the House agree to the bill? It's agreed to. The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill requires AEDs at interscholastic athletic events.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? On that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the bill, gentleman from Bucks, Representative Brennan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Many of you may remember that on January 2nd, 2023, the day before we were sworn in for this session, that 24-year-old Allegheny County native DeMar Hanlon nearly lost his life due to a sudden cardiac event on national TV on Monday Night Football. He was saved because of the quick action of the Bills' athletic training staff and the presence of an automated external defibrillator. That could have been any of our kids, and they all deserve the same chance at survival. Cardiac arrests are the leading cause of death among our young athletes. And it's not just trauma. A cardiac event can occur due to heart disease, due to an arrhythmia, substance use, due to low potassium from an eating disorder, or simply because of intense exercise and activity. Nearly 500,000 people have a cardiac event each year, and they're 90% fatal if they're occurring outside of a hospital setting. And with each minute of delay, you're losing lives. However, the survival rate jumps up to 70% with the use of an AED. That increases even more with CPR. Schools with an AED and a plan have an 80% survival rate, and that's according to the NFL and the Heart Association. And in addition to saving a life, it can avoid long-term complications like brain damage. This legislation would have Pennsylvania join about 20 other states that require an AED at schools and interscholastic events. It would require the development of an emergency action plan to respond to cardiac events. It's meant to increase survival rates, decrease complications, and save our kids in their schools and on their playing fields. I ask you to join me in voting for this bill that can and will save lives, so I encourage you a yes vote on this bill. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the ayes and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 157, nays are 45. Majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative. The bill passes the House finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up House Bill 1962, printers number 3481 on page 2 of Supplemental Calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill allows family members who care for a minor child an opportunity to apply for temporary assistance for needy family benefits on behalf of a child.
This bill's been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? On that question, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Mercer, Representative Bonner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1962 is a welfare bill that will cause a revolt in Pennsylvania. It will enable parents who are financially well off to turn their children over to grandparents or other relatives to avoid their responsibility to provide financial support for their children. If the grandparents or the other relatives who are usually older and retired are below the welfare income guidelines, the grandparents can obtain child support, food stamps, and health care paid for by the taxpayers, even though the parents of these children are financially well off. The parents of these children who are financially well off will have no responsibility to pay child support, food stamps, or health care. Instead, the taxpayers will get stuck for this bill. There are 250,000 children living with relatives other than parents in Pennsylvania. If this law passes, many of these relatives will be seeking child support, food stamps, and health benefits for the children in their homes, even though the parents have the financial wherewithal to pay for the support of their children. This bill will incentivize parents to give their children over to another relative to avoid child support or to get welfare for these children. This bill is a breeding ground for welfare fraud. The sponsor of this bill indicated in the committee that the bill was needed because grandparents were incurring too much tension and asking for support from the natural parents. I can tell you where the tension is going to arise if this bill is passed. The tension is going to be with our taxpayers, who are going to revolt when they are being required to pay child support for parents who are otherwise financially well off. I've actually attended these hearings where grandparents or other relatives seek support from the natural parent. There's no tension in these hearings. In fact, the natural parent never shows. Only the caseworker shows to give the income limits of the natural parent, and the child support level is set. It takes 20 minutes, and everyone goes home. Parents who have the financial ability to pay child support should be doing so, and this bill lets them off the hook. If we pass this bill, we are going to be eroding the unity of the core family. We are going to continue to make government the big brother. We are going to promote welfare fraud, and we are telling the taxpayers, you have been taken again. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. On that question, Chair recognizes the gentleman from Adams, Representative Mao, the minority chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I said the other day, I've been around here quite a while now, and I do remember a time when I was on the Children and Youth Agency and also dipped into human services somewhat. Back then we called it the Agency on Welfare. And I remember some of the studies that the Inspector General brought to us. And as much as I hate to talk against a bill that the maker of which I'm very fond of, the Inspector General brought forth to us people that were frauding the system, cheating the system, if you will. We actually had people with hunting camps from New York in Pennsylvania receiving welfare checks at their hunting camp. Now, why do I say that? Because a bill like this opens Pennsylvania up to a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse. I'm not against the idea. I just think that it needs a whole lot of work to prevent that, to save the taxpayers of Pennsylvania the money that's going to almost absolutely going to be stolen from the taxpayers of Pennsylvania. So I think it needs a whole lot more work before we pass this over to the Senate. So thank you, Madam Speaker. I hope the people think about that. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. On that question, Chair recognizes the maker of the bill, gentlelady from Philadelphia, Representative Parker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise today to urge a yes vote on House Bill 1962. Madam Speaker, this bill will help thousands of grandparents, which I am one, who are raising grandchildren apply for temporary assistance for the child. This bill helps these folks who are stepping up, often in retirement and on fixed incomes, to take care of these children. It is estimated that 259,000 children in Pennsylvania live in a household where other relatives are main caretakers, and roughly 235,515 grandparents are responsible for their grandchildren. Unfortunately, over 20% of grandparents that are the primary caretakers of children are living below the poverty line. This legislation will amend the Child Support Enforcement Program to help grandparents who are caring for a child to apply for assistance so that that child will have access to the benefits. Madam Speaker, that's why AARP is strongly supporting this bill, and I am urging every member of this House to do so. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the maker of the bill. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 112, the nays are 90. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally. Clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 2162, printers number 3319 on page 2 of Supplemental Calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill allows for the relocation of tenants who are crime victims who reside in the housing authorities.
This bill's been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? On that question, the chair recognizes the gentlelady from Allegheny, the maker of the bill, Representative Powell.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to urge a yes vote on House Bill 2162. In 2018, the state enacted Act 148, which provided protections to domestic violence and sexual assault survivors who were also tenants of a housing authority who needed to relocate. These protections ensured that survivors were offered the opportunity to relocate to another unit, receive a housing voucher, to receive assistance in identifying other housing, or be connected to a local organization offering similar assistance. However, victims of violent crimes like armed home robbery or family members of homicide victims were not included in this legislation. House Bill 2162 builds on the success of Act 148, addressing this gap by extending these provisions to victims of all violent crimes and witnesses who were threatened with further violence. I want to thank the gentlelady from Bucks County, Representative Labs, for her partnership and tireless work on this bill to ensure that the most vulnerable low-income survivors and victims of crime would be able to get the support that they need to remain safely housed following a violent crime. I implore my colleagues to support violent crime survivors and their loved ones and to vote yes on House Bill 2162. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentlelady on that question. Chair recognizes the gentlelady from Bucks, Representative Labs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of House Bill 2162, which would provide protection and safe relocation to victims of violent crimes. I want to thank my colleague, Representative Powell from Allegheny County, for her collaboration on this important piece of legislation. According to a study, the ability of victims to obtain assistance in securing safe housing following a violent crime was unavailable, though nearly half of survivors would have wanted it. House Bill 2162 aims to correct this and expand these protections by allowing victims of violence and their families the opportunity to obtain housing relocation while increasing the time frame relocation could be requested. By expanding the protections and increasing the time constraint, we can ensure that victims and their families have the resources and support they need as they begin to heal. Today, we are taking a critical step in making sure Pennsylvania is a safer place for survivors of violence, and I ask my colleagues for an affirmative vote.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 141, the nays are 61. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally. Clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 2451, printers number 3441, on page 1 of Supplemental Calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? Clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill eliminates prohibitions and limitations for certified poultry technicians.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? On that question, the chair recognizes the maker of the bill, the gentlelady from Berks, Representative Cepeda Freitas.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Colleagues, I stand before you today to advocate for an important piece of legislation to strengthen Pennsylvania's poultry industry and enhance our state's efforts in preventing the spread of highly pathogenic avian influenza, commonly known as HIPATH. Since 2022, the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture has been diligently working alongside our poultry producers to prevent the spread of this dangerous virus. At the heart of these efforts are certified poultry technicians who play a vital role in preventing the spread of HIPATH. However, the current law passed in 1956 needs urgent updates to reflect the realities of today's agricultural workforce. Many individuals working in Pennsylvania's poultry operations are not U.S. citizens. Despite being legally permitted to work on our farms, these hardworking individuals are currently ineligible to become certified poultry technicians. This exclusion not only limits the pool of qualified technicians, but also denies hardworking individuals the opportunity to contribute fully to our agricultural sector. My bill seeks to change this by allowing anyone legally authorized to work in the United States to become a certified poultry technician upon completing the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture's training course. Additionally, my bill addresses a significant operational inefficiency. Currently, certified poultry technicians are prohibited from taking samples from birds on the farms where they work. This restriction hampers the ability of our farmers to utilize these technicians effectively. The bill will eliminate this prohibition, enabling our poultry operations to function more smoothly and respond more swiftly to health concerns. I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting House Bill 2451. By modernizing our laws and removing unnecessary barriers, we can better support Pennsylvania's poultry industry, safeguard our agricultural sector, and enhance our state's ability to prevent the spread of HIPATH and create a more efficient and resilient system that benefits all Pennsylvanians. Thank you for your attention, and I respectfully ask for a yes vote on House Bill 2451. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 166. The nays are 36. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The chair is in receipt of extracts from the Journal of the Senate, which the clerk will now read.
Clerk of the Senate being introduced, return bill from the House of Representatives, numbered and entitled as follows. House Bill 613. With the information the Senate has passed the same with the amendment in which the concurrence of the House of Representatives is requested. Clerk of the Senate being introduced, informed that the Senate has concurred in the amendments made by the House of Representatives to Senate Bill, numbered and entitled as follows. Senate Bill 82 and Senate Bill 916. Bills numbered and entitled as follows, having been prepared for presentation to the governor, and the same being correct, the titles were publicly read as follows. Senate Bill 82 and Senate Bill 916. Whereupon the Speaker, in the presence of the House, signed the same.
Chair is about to sign the following bills, which the clerk will now read.
Senate Bill 82 and Senate Bill 916.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up Senate Bill 187, printers number 070273 on page 2. Supplemental Calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? Clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill changes child pornography to child sexual abuse material in the Child Internet Protection Act.
This bill's been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally, agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution? Chair recognizes the Majority Chair of Judiciary, the gentleman from Montgomery, Representative Briggs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll submit my comments to the record.
Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 202, the nays are 0. Majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally. Clerk will return the same information to the Senate, that the House has passed the bill without amendment. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up Senate Bill 1092. Printers number 1405 on page 2 of Supplemental Calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? Clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill allows insurers and insurance agents to offer value-added products and services.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote. On final passage of the bill, the yeas are 202, the nays are 0. Majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally. The clerk will present the same information to the Senate that the House passed the bill without amendment. The chair recognizes the Majority Leader who calls up Senate Bill 1231. Printers number 1666 on page 3 of Supplemental Calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? Clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill amends the Decedents, Estates, and Fiduciaries Code by providing for establishment of directed trust and for non-judicial settlements of trust accounts.
This bill's been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? On that question, Chair recognizes the Majority Chair of Judiciary, the gentleman from Montgomery, Representative Briggs.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today to urge an affirmative vote on Senate Bill 1231. Madam Speaker, the aim of this legislation is to implement the Uniform Law Commission's 2017 Directed Trust Act, which was also proposed by Pennsylvania's Joint State Government Commission Advisory Committee on Descendant Estate Laws in 2021. As of today, 19 states have adopted this language. This legislation is needed because the lack of an up-to-date directed trust law makes the Commonwealth an unattractive location for establishing and administering directed trusts and increases the cost of utilizing trust directors. Please vote yes on Senate Bill 1231. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote. Majority required by the 200, on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 202, the nays are 0. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally, and the clerk will present the same information to the Senate that the bill passed the House without amendment. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up Senate Bill 186, printer's number 1804 on page 2 of supplemental calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? Clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill changes child pornography to child sexual abuse material in Title 18 and 61.
This bill's been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? On that question, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Blair, Representative Gregory.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Submitting my comments for the record, please. Thank you.
Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 144, the nays are 58. The majority required by the Constitution. The bill passes the House finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate with the information. The House passed the bill with amendment in which the concurrence of the Senate is requested. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up Senate Bill 298, printers number 0990 on page 4 on supplemental calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? The clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill amends Title 75 and equipment standards, further providing for vehicle doors.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 201, the nays are 1. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally, and the clerk will present the same to the Senate for concurrence. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up Senate Bill 1246, printers number 1805 on page 4 of supplemental calendar B. Will the House agree the bill is agreed to? Clerk will read the title and a brief description of the bill.
This bill amends Title 74 to establish the State Safety Oversight Office within the Department of Transportation.
This bill has been considered on 3 different days and agreed to. The question is, shall the bill pass the House finally? Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the final passage of the bill. The yeas are 140, the nays are 62. The majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the bill passes the House finally, and the clerk will return the same information that the House has passed the bill with amendment in which concurrence of the Senate is requested. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 829, printers number 3426 on page 1 of Supplemental Calendar C for concurrence in Senate amendments. The question is, will the House concur in the amendments inserted by the Senate? On that question, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Allegheny County, Representative DZ, Majority Chair of Liquor Control, for a brief description of the Senate amendments.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. In its original intent, House Bill 829 was intended to allow employees the flexibility to work at more than one distributor. This was originally introduced to create a staffing issue, and it was also an opportunity to help employees and employers as well. In the Senate, there were many amendments that were taken up, and we're pleased that they were all included in this bill. Among them, the expanded definition of special occasion permits, as well as wholesale licensees get a discount when they pick up their own product, increase the number of happy hour discounts that can be offered. It also permits hotels, restaurants, and clubs who self-sponsor events to include the price of 2 alcoholic beverage tickets in the price. Expand outdoor seating for establishments, making those permanent, which were allowed during COVID. We saw that they were a lifeline for many small businesses, so we were happy to include that in this bill, as well as clarifying the definition of non-alcoholic malt and brewed beverages. It also allows distributors to sell or rent certain equipment to other licensees, like equipment for dispensing beer. It moves Industry Promotion Board control and grant approval process to the Department of Agriculture from the PLCB. It allows club licenses to remain in safekeeping for up to 2 years, extends brewery and distillery hours on New Year's Eve and one other day during the year, increases point-of-sale advertising from $300 to $750, allows distributors to advertise discounts on malt or brewed beverages, allows limited winery to offer discounted pricing for off-sale premises, requires proper signage where non-alcoholic and alcoholic beverages are sold side by side, extends food permits for clubs. At the end of the day, all of these changes were made to support a stronger and safely expanded liquor market here in Pennsylvania. It provides better access for consumers, safe sale as well to keep the alcohol out of the hands of minors, more employment opportunities and staffing, and it also provides much help to small businesses where they have the flexibility to sell and in their operating hours. It is a win for consumers as well as small businesses. I appreciate the work of all involved, including my staff who has worked diligently on these issues, as well as my counterpart, Chair Fee, and her staff has worked tremendously as well, and we look forward to an affirmative vote. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. On that question, Chair recognizes the gentleman from Allegheny, Representative Gergely.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, House Bill 829, I'm encouraging a yes vote. It will help small businesses across Pennsylvania, not only in our Pennsylvania breweries, distilleries, wineries, but also our local restaurants, taverns, beer distributors, and veteran and fraternal organizations. This bill will provide flexibility and new avenues of growth for these businesses, which are the economic backbone of our communities. Please join me and vote yes on concurrence of House Bill 829, and thank you to Chairwoman Fee, Chairman Deasy, very much, the staff, and everybody in the committee for all the hard work. Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Chair thanks the gentleman. On that question, Chair recognizes the gentleman from Montgomery County, Representative Malagiri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise in support as well for House Bill 825. Coming from the industry, this bill and this omnibus bill has a lot of good parts in it that will be able to help out the small businesses like the taverns and clubs and your fraternal organizations, along with your local retail beer distributor and the importing distributor. The equipment that you can rent couldn't do it before, but now you can help somebody out that's having a big party or having a big event within their community. In addition to that, this is a really good portion, the underlying bill, which allows individuals to work within the industry in different aspects. This is a really important part of it because for a long time, bartenders would be working at other places and they weren't really allowed to do so. However, they have that knowledge and they have the ability to work across the industry, and this actually gives a really good solution for that problem. Furthermore, a lot of the points that the chairman said, I think, touch on the strength of this, and you can see that from the support of it as well. I urge a yes vote, and I thank the chairman, I thank the staff, and I thank all that were involved in making sure we got to this point. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on final passage of the bill. The yeas are 202, the nays are 0. A majority required by the Constitution having voted in the affirmative, the amendments are concurred in, and the clerk will inform the Senate accordingly. The chair recognizes the majority leader who calls up House Bill 2301, printers number 3405 on page 2 of Supplemental Calendar C, for concurrence in Senate amendments. The question is, will the House concur in the amendments inserted by the Senate? On that question, the chair recognizes the gentleman from Philadelphia, Majority Chair of Transportation, Representative Nielsen, for a brief description of the Senate amendments.
Why, thank you, Madam Speaker. The Senate amended this bill to insert several agreed-to provisions. These include special license plates for recipients of the Global War on Terrorism, the Bourgognier's Congressional Gold Medal, while also adding provisions that waive registration and titling fees from certain decorated and injured veterans, and to provide reduced registration fees for retirees. I ask for the House to concur on this amendment, or on House Bill 2301, as amended in the Senate. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chair thanks the gentleman. On that question, Chair recognizes the gentleman from Philadelphia, Representative Giral.
Madam Speaker, I rise to submit my comments for the record on House Bill 2301.
Agreeable to the provisions of the Constitution, the yeas and nays will now be taken. Members will proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Have all the members voted? Clerk will record the vote on the concurrence to the Senate amendment. The yeas are 202, the nays are 0. Members, if I can have your attention. Today is a special day. 2 members in the Minority Caucus are celebrating their birthday happily at work. Very proud to say happy birthday to the gentleman from Westmoreland, the caucus chair, Representative Dunbar, and to the gentlelady from Allegheny, Representative Gatos. Happy birthday. Chair wishes everyone a happy 4th of July. Thank God for freedom. For the information of the members, there will be no further votes. Majority Leader moves that the following bills be recommitted to the Committee on Appropriations: House Bill 1425, House Bill 2241, House Bill 2286, House Bill 2426. The chair is in receipt of the extracts of the Journal of the Senate, which the clerk will now read.
Bills numbered and titles as follows, having been prepared for presentation to the governor, and the same being correct, the titles were publicly read as follows. House Bill 829 and House Bill 2301, whereupon the Speaker, in the presence of the House, signed the same.
Chair is about to sign the following bill, which the clerk will now read. For what purpose does the gentleman from York rise?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Parliamentary inquiry.
The gentleman is in order and may state his parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. We are July 3rd, 3 days into the fiscal year. Is the intent of the majority party to move budget vehicles to complete this fiscal year's budget. The scheduled session days on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
The gentleman will suspend. That is not a parliamentary inquiry. For the information of the members, there will be no further vote. The chair is in receipt of a motion from the gentleman from York, Representative Grove, that the House now adjourn until Friday, July the 5th, 3 p.m., unless sooner recalled by the Speaker. Questions on the motion? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the House stands adjourned till Friday, July the 5th, 2024 at 3 p.m., unless sooner recalled by the Speaker.